Thanks for letting me talk today. And I also wanted to acknowledge Scott McMillan with ACOM, who also worked on this project, Bruce Hansen, who was the main propagation guy, and Satal Prabhu from Southern California Edison, and our partners at Gothic Landscape that did a lot of the installation of the plants. So I'm going to talk about the special status plant propagation work we've been doing for some Mojave and Colorado desert species. And just to give you an idea of some of the things that I'll talk about, I want to introduce each of the sensitive plants and talk about their status in the range and just a little bit about what makes them unique. And then I'll also talk about our propagation efforts and what we did well, what we didn't do well, and all the stuff that we've learned. So the two Edison projects, Scott also talked about these before, but one is ZPV2, Devers to Pellegrini number 2, and that runs from Menifee to Blythe, and it's 152 miles long. It runs through the Coachella Valley. And then our other project where we did some propagation of our special status plants was for EITP. That's the El Dorado Ivanpah Transmission Project. And that spans 35 miles from California near the California-Nevada border all the way to Henderson, Nevada. So our plants. The one plant that we did some propagation for from the Coachella Valley is this Coachella Valley milkfish. And this is a really challenging plant. We partnered with Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden. And it's a unique plant that lives in these really loose alien sand systems. And the sand corridor, so you have sand being blown from one area deposited into another area, and the sand ends in the area where the sand gets deposited. And on the western end of its range, where it gets a little more rainfall, it's more of a facultative perennial. And then on the eastern end of the range, it's more of an annual. So it's a really interesting thing. And we did a lot of work. Partnered with Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden in their nursery. And they tried propagating this thing on agar, they tried in native sand. They did, I think, 3 years worth of studies, tried everything. And really struggled with the species, because if you think about it, if it grows in a sandy environment, all that keeps being reflected from the sand. And if you try to grow it in a greenhouse, it's being grown in these little, plastic pots, so it's really hard to mimic that cool sand environment in a nursery. So we ultimately, I think, had 5 plants that we outplanted, but even those didn't survive. One got washed out by a flood. There was a couple others that had root rot, so that was a big problem with the plant. But then we also had some seed that we put out, just in nature, and luckily the next year we got some really good rainfall. And we got 5 plants growing from seed that was just cast out into the environment and raked into the sand. And then the following year, we had a couple that came up again. We got one plant that had 200 fruits on it. So that was the goal, to get a plant that produced fruits in the field. And this little thing that went crazy and just had hundreds of fruits on it, so that was super exciting. So lessons learned for this one, it's really difficult to mimic the conditions and a nursery in a natural setting, in a nursery. So really, if you just put the seed out there, this thing's adapted to take off once it gets some rain. So that was the best way to go. Here's our rosy two-tone beard tongue, and this one was very kind of like your classic beard tongue, and it was relatively easy to grow in a nursery, or at least easier than the other one I'm going to talk about. And this is a plant that lives in Nevada, in this McCullough mountain range, and it likes the really rocky, calcareous, granitic soil. And it's a perennial herb that flowers in May. And so we did a number of things for this species. One thing we did is we collected seed and we dispersed the seed for 3 years in a row, but we never got any germination from the seed. So something, obviously the dormancy wasn't broken. There was something that wasn't quite right with that approach. But then we did try to propagate it in a greenhouse, and we did 3 separate efforts. The first one, we got 9 plants germinating, so I think that was about half of the plants the seeds that we sowed germinated. Those ultimately didn't survive in the nursery, so we tried again the next year, and each year we propagated them in summer. That's when we sowed the seed. The next year we had, I think, 19 plants that actually grew, And of those, we got 5 or 9 that were able to outplant into a natural setting. But all of those plants, so we didn't put cages around them, so they all ultimately got eaten by something, whether it was rabbits or bighorns or I don't know what it was, but that was a good lesson. And then the year after that, we had some really good luck, and we put started on the tree tubes actually instead of flats. And with that, we recollected the seed too, so we were starting with fresh seed. And in the tree tubes, we got 100% germination. So just all these little seedlings were in the tree tubes doing great. And rather than trying to pull them apart when we planted them, we wanted to keep them all together. So we actually planted the whole grouping of plants in a basin. And we installed the herbivory cages around them. We gave them, I think it was 30 gallons of water in each basin right off the bat. So we really doused them with water, like Scott was saying. We wanted to kind of cool the environment and give them a really good start. And the plants were small also, so it was interesting to see that in this tree tube, even with a tiny plant, what was happening was the root structure was developing because it had a lot of length in that soil medium. So that was really a neat thing to see because at first we were worried that the plants were so tiny, but then after about 6 months, they just took off. So it was really, really a neat thing and really worked well with this plant. And there it is in its herbivory cage, and we got ones that were flowering this year, so that was super exciting. And lessons learned for this one, the tree tubes worked great because it allowed the root structure to really develop, and it was okay that the above ground growth stayed small for a while. And didn't get much germination from seed. And watering, you gotta water these guys a lot, so we watered them weekly for the first month, and then about either twice or once a month after that, we're actually still watering them out there because it's been so dry. You know, we just wanted to keep going with the watering just to continue to have them get established. So this was our tricky one. We had a lot of learning with this plant. This is an interesting plant that lives kind of on the margins of this dry lake beds out there. And it goes away every year, so it's not one of those, you know, pentstemons that just stay above ground. This species is interesting because some years, you know, you get a lot of rain and it comes out and it's all over the place. Or you get a year with no rain and it just totally disappears. And it's rhizomatous, as Scott had mentioned before. So this is one that also occurs out in Nevada too, out in that same EITP project area. So we tried, 2013 really was our only chance to collect seed for this species because it came up, we had a lot of rainfall that year. And so we dispersed seed, we didn't have any germination from seed, so we had to try the propagation mode. And this one was tricky. So our first propagation attempt, we only had, I think it was 10% germination. And of those plants, we got them up to 1 gallon and they all wound up dying. So we tried it again the next year. And the next year we tried different seasons. So we sowed some seed in summer, we sowed it in fall and also winter to see if that might impact. And we also incorporated native soil into the mix. And that seemed to really do the trick. In addition to using the trees, this plant as well. And the interesting thing, so November seemed to really be the good time to sow the seed. And if you think about it in nature, this plant, we were seeing that it got a lot of water in the wintertime and it really responded to that winter rainfall. So maybe sowing the seed in November mimicked that natural condition. And that was the set of, you know, that really did well. So summer wasn't as well, but November really did well in terms of the plants were successful and we got more germination. So we outplanted 30 plants in May, and that was super exciting. And even though the plants disappeared, because they do in nature anyway, by like August and September, we still wanted to water the plants, because the idea is we want to get the root structure continuing to grow and the rhizomes growing as well. And we didn't get a chance to really experiment like we'd like to with the rhizome propagation, but with this species, because it's rhizomatous, you know, if you're going to have impacts in the future, maybe it'd be a good thing to collect the whole plant and try to produce plants via rhizome cuttings. So that's something we wanted to try. All right, so I talked about these lessons learned. I have 3 more minutes, so I will go quickly through the species. This is an ion coppice grass, and this one also lives in the Mocola Mountains in Nevada. It's a perennial herb that flowers in August through September. This species is interesting too because we didn't see it at all on the project site. Then there was one year we got these crazy monsoon rains and it was everywhere. So that's a picture of it all over the place, but we realized there was some impact to the species after the fact, so we didn't even know it was there. And we've had really good luck with doing the 1 gallons and seed bulking. So from 100 seeds, we got 9 plants, and from those 9 plants, we got 2,300 seeds. And so we just been inputting the seed into the environment every year. And this year, finally, we got some extra rain, and we got the seed germinating in the field. So for this species, the seed dispersal is the way to go. All right, in summary, for these sensitive plants, always, of course, you want to avoid and minimize impacts when you can. But if you can't do that, you want to set some realistic goals for propagation. Because a lot of what you're doing on the outset is learning about the species. And even though you may have some failures and successes, it's all good learning, and it's good to share that with others because these species can be really tricky. All right, well, thank you from our team. And are there any questions? So for that one, we planted in May, and I believe we also seeded in May. Is that right? Yeah. Because that's when we usually saw them coming up. They would respond to the winter rains. They'd see them coming up in like fall or